Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. I need you to smash that like button to extend that S even further. If you don't know me, I'm Game from BusyWorksBeats.com. We train over 1 million producers around the world, so I'm going to work with Drake, Kanye West, Post Malone, Ariana Grande, French Montana, Young Thug, Lil Baby, Polo G, Trippie Redd, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and so many more. So in this video, I'll show you how to make your first R&B beat in FL Studio using stock plugins, and you will get the project files for free along with other templates for other genres. So let's hop straight into it. All right, so to get those, just click the link below or go to BusyWorksBeats.com/FL Studio. What we're going to do, firstly, here's what it sounds like. So I have this mapped out so that everything is like sectioned, so it's not hard to follow. All right, so let me show you guys how to flip this. So this is just an example. You guys don't have to use these. That was more so just to give you guys a starting point. So I did map out the sound selection for you. Let's go here. Let's right click, find first empty. That will create a new pattern. So in this pattern, what we can do is load up what's called Slice X. And in Slice, we could trigger different drum chops. Now you can play this by hand. So you could right click this typing keyboard to piano. Make sure your root note is C. Make sure your octave is 4. And then go to Layout Slice. Okay, so now I can use my typing keyboard to trigger the chops on Slice. So that's a cool way to do it. And I mixed the drums for you guys so you don't have to waste time. So here's before they were mixed. Here's after. So it's a lot more like in your face. Okay, so, and it's like an MPC texture. So the first thing I like to do is start with hi-hats. So if you guys are going to do it this way, try to find your hi-hats first. But instead of like spending time trying to play everything by hand, let's simply right click. Let's go to our channel rack here. We're going to right click the drum break, go to piano roll. So here you have all the chops labeled in what are called markers. So in short, in Slice, they're basically chopping it and it goes numbered from the very beginning of the chops all the way to the end. So you can see marker 10, marker 12, etc., etc. So each marker has an individual sound tied to it. So we could preview this by just doing something like that. So let's go to turn on what's called the metronome. This project was built at 138 BPM. So you guys are what's called double time. Okay, so let's start with the hi-hats. And the best part about drum break chopping is that we get a really unique layered sound. So let's find our hi-hats and create a pattern. Let's go to pattern mode here so we can hear just this pattern. So we're going to go tit, 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 tit. So now we need an accented hi-hat. So we're going to turn up what's called the velocity. If you don't see this, grab the ellipses in the bottom, left click and pull this up, and then go to where it says control velocity. So we want tat, 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 tat. So a little accent on the first one. Okay, so velocity does matter here. So that's a pretty cool bounce. We're not going to get too complex because, again, you guys are beginners, so I'm not trying to freak you out right now. So we're going to hit control, left click and highlight. Let's hit shift, left click and drag these notes over. If you don't have your screen like this, change your snap to grid to 1/2 beat. I would recommend staying there for most music. So now we get that vinyl sound and it sounds really unique because of that dynamic. So we're just hitting control to highlight, hit shift to drag those notes over. So now we can add in our snares. So we can add the snare on the 3 and the 7. So if you don't know what that means, turn on the metronome and just count. Every time you hear a beat, consider it like a heartbeat. And so we're counting. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We could put it there, but that's not really it's not really unique. It's kind of just bland. So we're going to add what are called ghost snares. So it's a snare at a lower velocity. And we're going to add like a little bounce note here. We're going to turn the velocity down. So it goes pa, ta, like that. Very subtle, but it just adds a little more bounce. Okay, so now we have a groove, and now we just need to add the kick. So think of the kick in the same way as the snare. We don't need it to go boom every single time. Sometimes we want it to go boom. So have those changes in velocity. So we're going to look for what's called a ghost kick. I found a ghost kick here at marker number 9. So we have the downbeat kick, which is that really expressive kick, and then this more subtle kick. So we're going to add that as like a bouncing element. Usually it goes da, da. So this ties back to tresillo if you study my other drum rhythm videos. So we're just going to mess with velocity to make this a little more dynamic. So these are the kicks. It's kind of hard to track everything, but I'm going to hit shift, drag this over. Now, if you're really fancy, you can go to what's called the channel rack. We can turn on what's called swing. So right here, the swing will affect all instruments, not just drums. So here's a universal swing parameter we could turn up. So this will add like a ta-ta, ta-ta type sound. It's a little bit different at 138 than if we were to do this at halftime. It would be way different. Let me see if I can demonstrate that. It's harder to demonstrate at halftime, but basically at a higher BPM, the higher BPM you go, the less swing you're going to hear because of the tempo. So to demonstrate swing, I would actually need to have back-to-back notes. So for this purpose, we're going to go to a new pattern. You don't need to follow this. I just want to show you guys what swing would actually sound like at 138, just so you get an ear for it. Because right now I'm not hearing it. But let me see here. We would have to have back-to-back notes, something like this. And then these would need to be chopped in half, basically. We're getting so in the weeds right now. I'm just trying to show you guys what swing sound. Okay, so this is no swing. This would be what swing sounds like. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, like that. Okay, so we're not producing anything that fast for us to hear that swing. Keep in mind, it will affect your other instruments too. We'll turn it up even though it's not doing anything right now, from what I could hear. Okay, so now we have the drum groove. So now let's go to what's called song mode, where we can start building an arrangement. This is where we start combining puzzle pieces. So think of patterns like puzzle pieces. Think of the playlist like where you put all the puzzle pieces together. Now we're going to drag pattern 9 in from the left side here. And if this ever happens to you, I don't even know what I just pressed. We're going to hit Alt, left click this little thing over in the top right to restore. Why is it doing that? Okay, let's do this again. Okay, let's hit Control B to latch paste. So now we have the drums. Now we can start writing piano. So I know that took some time, but once you get the hang of like these little nuances, your drums will sound better. Okay, so let's go to pattern mode in the channel rack, I should say. Let's go to pattern 10 and let's start mapping out piano. So I have everything mapped out for you. There's basically 4 layers to a song. You have drums, piano, or yeah, it's just a harmony. You have a top line, it's called, and you have a contrast layer. So in this beat, we're using drums as the rhythm layer. We have the harmony layer as a piano. We have the lead sound as our top line, and then we have the bass as our contrast layer. I'll be teaching this over and over and over again. You guys will hear me talk about that. If you want deeper music theory, though, I'm about to get into extremely heavy music theory. So if you guys want clarity about every single step built up from the ground up to where I take you from a beginner to advanced, that's called the Music Theory Magic course. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic. Okay, because this is where I explain some of the jazz theory here. We're going to get a little in the weeds, but just copy and paste as a beginner here. So we're going to double click. Let's go to where it says piano chords. The sound itself is from Flex under Essential Piano. It's called the Close Grand. We're going to right click. Let's go to piano roll. And now we're going to start mapping out what are called chords. Chords give you the mood for the song. So this is how we dictate the vibe. So we're in song mode now. Okay, so here's the difference. We're producing in context of everything else. If we go back to pattern mode, we won't be able to hear the other stuff. And we're just like in a silo. Okay, so what I'm doing now is producing while hearing other stuff. So that's why I laid out the pattern before we even have anything inside. Okay, so we can even clone this, hit Control B. There's nothing in the pattern yet. We're going to add to it. So you could double click to open the pattern. Let's right click, go to piano roll for our piano. The first chord we're going to use is called a D minor ninth chord. I'm just going to quickly show you guys the shortcuts. Go to stamp tool, go to minor ninth, and let's start at D minor, but we're going to transpose the key. We're going to do what's called a 2-5-1 chord progression. I know I'm speaking music theory and ease right now, but this is how you get the R&B sound. Okay, so we're going to write in tresillo, which is ta, 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 ta. That's the rhythm for it. Okay, so this is a 2-5-1. We're going to go to chord stamps, go to advanced, 9. We're going to go up to G, which is the 5th of the C major scale. D minor would be the 2nd of the C major scale. G dominant is the 5th of the C major scale. Now let's land on C major ninth with that chord extension here. I know I'm speaking like foreign language to the beginners, but this is how you get the sound. So right now this is a bland, what's called voicing. So we're going to highlight these notes, hit Alt G to ungroup the notes. And we're going to take the 5th and the 9th here, hit Shift up to transpose those up one. This is going to give you an R&B voicing. Now that's the kind of standard way of going about it. Now we're going to use what's called a tritone substitution. And again, if you're confused about any of these words and any of these concepts, I teach this in my Music Theory Magic course. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic. This is called a tritone substitution. We're going to pull this down 6 semitones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're going to copy this over, highlight it with Control, hit Shift, left click to drag it over. Let that chord breathe a little bit. Let it breathe, let it breathe, let it breathe. And then we're going to flip it again. Now here we're going to use, I'm just showing you concepts here. We're going to use what's called a secondary dominant. And we're going to go from C major into the relative minor scale. So to find the relative minor of your tonic, if your tonic is a major chord, you're going to count down 3 notes, 1, 2, 3. And this is the root note for the relative minor. If you're in a relative minor and you want to find the major, the relative major, you count up 3 notes, 1, 2, 3, and that gives you C major. Pretty simple. And use the same exact notes from the scale, starting from that point. Now what we're going to do, instead of this chord here, we're going to use what's called the secondary dominant. So we're going to add that dominant chord at the 5th of A. I know that is very advanced music theory, but listen to what it sounds like. Okay, let's go back. My bad, I didn't have it go all the way through. And again, you guys will get the project files for free, so don't sweat memorizing all this. So I'm going to save this. Okay, so now we need to give it a vibe. Right now it's very like stagnant. Okay, so what I'm going to do to thicken out the sound is take all these bottom notes and we're going to clone these into what's called the bass. So let's highlight these notes, hit Control and Shift to select individual notes. And you could also deselect notes, hitting Control and Shift. Hit Control C to copy. Now let's move to a different layer, a pattern 2. Let's go to our bass. We need to right click, go to the piano roll to paste. You can't paste this in the channel rack, it won't work. You have to go to the piano roll. Now let's layer this bass underneath the chords. So all we did was just take the bottom note of the chords and put it in the bass. It now sounds more full. Now I'm going to add little like notes to go in between. One note or one concept, I guess, is the tritone, which is 6 semitones. So we're just going to look at the last, I guess there's 2 ways to do it. We're going to see what the top note, how do I explain this? The last top note that we land on, and then we're going to count down 6 semitones from here. So now I need to add it in rhythmically. Let's add the metronome. 3, 4, 1, 2, do, 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 do. Okay. We're going to count down 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going out of key on purpose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so let's do this. Since we're landing at B, let's just shift down. Okay, so we could either go there or we could look for the top note of the next chord, which is E. So we're just going to try to voice this. There's no rules for this. We're just using this as a passing tone. So we're going out of key on purpose. I like the first voicing. All right, so now it sounds very computerized. Let's go to where it says tools. We're going to go to where it says humanize. And here we're going to add a human touch. So I don't know what happened here. What is all this? So usually, okay, there we go. Duration offset. I don't know why that was like messed up. Okay, so you guys might have to adjust this. My older version didn't do this, so I don't know why that's doing that. It's kind of trippy. So let's dial these in. So we're learning together here. Velocity range, we want this to be pretty wide. Time offset, we want this to be pretty wide of a gap so that it has human timing. Duration range, it's kind of weird of a parameter, but now it has more of a human vibe. We can hit Alt X to turn the velocities down. Just pull down that multiply. So now it's not like scraping the velocities. And right now there's a couple flaws here. So you have to download what's called a script from the FL Studio image line forums, or you have to grab your slice tool and find every overlapping note and hit Shift Alt and right click to make sure they don't overlap, or else FL Studio won't trigger those notes. So that's tedious. So there's a script somebody built. If you go to tools, you have to download this from the image line forums. That's another tutorial, but we're going to remove overlaps here so that any overlapping notes will be corrected. Now we still have to go to the ending here, hit Shift, left click to do a vertical slice, hit Control, left click to select the overlapping notes, hit Control X, or else this will just keep going for the next bar. We can also do augmented. Let's try augmented, which is 0, 4, 8. You don't need to memorize this. So this would be 8 in that case. 1, 2, 3. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So it will look something like this. Okay, so now let's add the lead. We're not going to stay stuck on that. Now, here's the step you have to understand is because we got into complex music theory, we have to understand what key we're actually in. So I'm just going to give you guys the answer. The key is C major. Okay, we're in the key of C major. Now, it takes a lot to figure that out, but we don't have time for that. It's also the relative A minor. So we're going to right click on our typing keyboard to piano, and let's go to minor, and let's make our root note A. So now we're writing in the key of A minor, which is the relative of C major. And we can go to where it says octave. Let's choose 5. We're going to select our lead, and now we can use our typing keyboard to add little lead lines in here. All we have to do is just right click record, turn on automation notes and audio to make sure those are on. We're going to record, and let's just add in. One, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Two, 3, 4, 1, 2. So I hit a lot of the wrong notes because I didn't practice beforehand. Actually, let's do that one more time. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. So it's okay. Getting acquainted with my keyboard here. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Now let's go to the lower octave here. There we go. That's all we need. Did it record over the other one? Dang it. Okay. So let's say that happened to you guys. Hit Control X. I was recording on the same pattern by accident. It happens to all of us. Let's do this again though. So basically what I had to do is go inside the lead, go into the piano roll, and I had to hit Control X to get rid of the notes. Let's do this one more again. One, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. lower octave. That's all we need. We don't need to like overcomplicate the lead. We're just gonna hit shift, left click, and drag that over. And now we have a song. Everything's already mixed for you guys. I might add more delay to the lead. So now you can go in and customize your sound. I want it to be like. There we go. Now we got that like dwelle sound. All right, so let me show you guys one last thing. Now this is really advanced. So we are going to highlight all of our instrument stuff. So this is the bass, lead, and piano harmony, or any other melodies you guys have, not the drums here. We're gonna hit Control G. This will combine everything into one pattern, one puzzle piece. And on the left side where it says patterns, we get right click and transpose this. So now I can go to different keys basically. Negative values, drop the key. Positive values, raise the key. So this is just experimental. I would recommend doing -3 and also +3. So let's hit -3 first. Now we're in a whole different key. And you can feel the energy now. So let's say you want to do +3. We're going to right click, go to transpose. Now -3 + 3 just brings us back to where we started. So we're going to do -3 + 6, which is going to make it +3. So let's just add a 6 to raise it up. I feel like that lead is just too high up. Yeah, it just doesn't hit the same. It hits, but it's just not the same thing. Let's bring it back down 6 semitones. This was the best zone for this sound. So you just made your first R&B beat using FL Studio 24. Congratulations. If you guys want to download these project files for free, go to busyworksbeats.com/FLstudio. And I'll have more templates for you for other genres too. Who knew FL Studio could sound this good? All right, so I'm going to give you guys these project files along with the project files for other genres. I want to thank you guys for making it this far. Just subscribe if you're new, like this video, and then go to busyworksbeats.com/FLstudio. I'll leave that link below. You guys will get these project files for free, along with so much more stuff that I didn't even name. So go check it out for yourself. I'll see you guys on the other side. Peace out.